And also Laura has one.
So we gotta do 6:07 and 7:07.
All right. And I have an erase.
Okay, superintendent's report.
Oh, welcome back, everybody. December was a strange month, kind of up and down, in and out of remote and not. During the Spirit Week, we had great participation from our students. So that was wonderful. So I guess we have to do Spirit Week every week. So even at the high school and the middle school, that really kept their energy up. And even though the high school had to do it remotely, they had students participating, which was really nice. So kudos to everybody who was trying to keep that energy and enthusiasm up. The staff, the admins, paras, the whole entire group, because I know everybody got involved in that. We continue to do contact tracing, not surprising. Even over this last week, the only day I wasn't involved in contact tracing was Christmas Day. So it has impacted every school. Still no transmission within a school from student to student. It's just for students, it's been family members sharing and then becoming exposed, and then students not being able to go into school. And then we've had some staff members become exposed at the various school sites. So what we are doing, and I think it will be helpful, we are remote that first week, January 4th to the 8th, and then we are hoping to return in person. I'll continue to track with Torrington Area Health every day. Their numbers have not been significantly up. They have been charting about 20 Torrington cases a day over the last week, which is not what they were seeing before. Before they were seeing 120.
Oh, wow.
So that was significant around the Thanksgiving time. So they don't know if there will be a ripple effect as people start to come back from travel and just the holidays and things like that. They're thinking just with the whole New Year's coming up as well, people celebrate during that time. So we'll see. The other big point of information is the whole vaccine rollout. Just to clarify, teachers are not in the 1A
No,
grouping.
1B.
They're not. They're in 1B. So no teachers anywhere are getting the vaccine or are on that schedule. The staff members who are on the 1A, and this was clarified by the governor, I believe, earlier in the week, or maybe it was the end of, I don't know when it was.
Yeah.
It was recent, in the last day or two. School nurses are now on the list
1A.
for 1A, and they are not doing a 1A high, medium, and low. They're just included in that group. And so superintendents have been requested, and I've already done this, sent our nurse list to Torrington Area Health. They download the information that we have on our nurses, our contact information, and we're using school emails. So nurses will receive an invitation from Torrington Area Health and VAMS so that they can set up their own appointment for their vaccine. The clinics will be available through Torrington Area Health, but the actual folks, this will be for the nurses to start, and then it will be for staff members subsequently. They will have to set up their own appointment. Okay, it would be too massive for Torrington Area Health to reach out and call everybody and say, when would you like an appointment? They will be doing their clinics on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Okay, so we will get more of that information out. What we've received so far, and remember, this is totally new even to the epidemiologists in the state and the health departments and everything across the nation, everyone across the nation. So they're hoping to have school nurses and all health professionals be vaccinated by the end of January, but it might spill into February. Their worry is that we may not have enough vaccine to go from 1A to 1B, and we may have to wait until May or June even to start 1B. But they are, I meet every Tuesday. Laura gets on those calls with me as well, with the state, so that we can gather more information about what's going on in terms of just the vaccines or the rollouts or what's happening with that. People just need to remember when they are being vaccinated, if you start with the Moderna, you have to have your second shot from Moderna. If you have the Pfizer, then you stick with the Pfizer. You don't do, it's not pick and choose. You have to stay consistent. And then if you do have allergies, please check with your physician, especially if you're in that 1B group, and just get the all clear now before you have to get the vaccine, or so that you don't have to wait once it becomes available, so that you do check in. I know that folks have a variety of different allergies and things like that, but that's just been the advice that we've gotten so far. Not that people are having horrible reactions, just it's always good to check with your own health practitioner, because once again, and I say this repeatedly, we are not medical professionals. We ask you to seek out that advice from your own doctor or physician. So that's all I have on that.
I have a question.
Sure.
Are the teachers going to ask that they be given time during the school day to go get these vaccines? If we're
Yeah.
requiring that they do it? Or what if they do?
We are not requiring that they do it. It's
Okay.
not mandatory. They have the choice to do it.
Okay,
And then we're going to wait, because that's going to be a massive undertaking. So the nurses, they're a small group right now,
right.
and we're going to have to figure out what that looks like, when the clinics are going to be available, how many slots, all of those other things. So it's
Okay.
going to take a little bit of time. And then obviously with the staff in that 1B group, it's going to be even more of planning and figuring out in coverage or whatever we're doing, or do you do it during a non-school time? I don't know. I think we have to wait and see. The state and the DPH is going to have to give us more guidance before we move forward in that area. So that'll be forthcoming, to be continued on that story.
I just don't want to get to that point and then it be all, we're trying to fill subs because all these teachers want to go get the vaccines during school hours.
Sure, and just, it's, right, we do, yeah, we have the flu clinics as well, right? Kim's run the flu clinics.
Yeah, when
And
we've
that's-
done the flu clinics, we've done 2 sessions. We usually do it one early in the morning from 6 to 8 at the high school. And then we do one in the afternoon at the middle school from like 5 to 7 or something like
And
that.
with the COVID vaccine, that'll be an option as well.
We
People
don't
will
know
come.
yet, Sue.
I
I'm
Okay.
just gonna jump in and say,
All right,
when
I'm
we
just
are-
thinking ahead, Sue, that's all.
I totally
don't want
get it.
chaos.
But I
Okay.
don't
It's gonna
want to
be.
promise something that we can't deliver because we're not
refrigeration.
coordinating the clinics. We're very
Well,
fortunate that.
That's to my
Kim-
point. Right, that's to my
Yeah.
point. We can't assume that we can have clinics at the high school. We don't know that we can. So I'm just putting it out there as something to think about in the upcoming months, that we may have an issue if everybody goes in masses to get vaccinated. That's all I'm
Sure.
saying.
Yep, and I totally understand, Sue, and I
Yeah.
totally agree with you. I just want to say there's a huge difference. When Kim sets up the clinics, we have control over that.
Mhm.
So, but with this, we have no control over this right now, as far as we
Right.
know. That may change, but right now, I don't want to promise something that I can't deliver on because I have no control over it.
Well, then
and
I don't think it should be put out there, even a reference to flu clinics and how we handle flu clinics, because chances are we won't be able to do the same thing for COVID. That's for the COVID clinic. So that shouldn't even be a reference in the future.
Armin?
Yeah, two things. The COVID vaccine, because it was emergency approved by the FDA, an employer cannot mandate you get it.
Right.
That's one thing. No employer can mandate you get it. The other thing
Healthcare
is,
workers can though.
what?
The
No,
healthcare
not even
workers,
healthcare workers. No, they can't. I was
They-
talking to.
they
my
are.
good- no, Well, no, my good friend.
I have
who's
family
doc-
that's in healthcare, Armin, that are given, that they have to get it in order to stay
I
employed.
was just talking to my good friend last night, who's a doctor, and she said, because it's emergency approved, you don't have to get it. They're encouraging you to get it, but you don't have to get it because they can't mandate it, okay? Because it's emergency approved. It's not, it didn't go through the full,
Let's just
FDA.
stick to the
And
school
then-
stuff.
so you can't do that. And the vaccine requires certain refrigeration, so you're probably not gonna be able to ever do a clinic in a school building because it has to be kept at a certain temperature with certain refrigeraration. Not all hospitals even
But
have
who
it.
knows what's gonna happen in
Correct.
May or June, there
Right,
could
right.
be a
And you
different
don't
one,
know,
we
right,
don't
right.
know.
You
And
don't know.
as Steve said, we don't control,
We
so
might
we
be
have
out
to
of
wait and
school
see.
by the time 1B opens up. so-
Right, right.
Yeah. Just to clarify, in 1B, does that include our other school personnel or is it only teachers in 1B?
No, it's all school.
It's
All
all
personnel.
school personnel. yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they may have exposure.
Right.
That's a good point.
Okay.
Yep, so, I'm gonna pass it over to Sue, so she can give us an update on teaching and learning.
Imagine that.
That's still happening.
The real focus of our work, right? So just very quickly, this format, you've seen it a couple months now. So professional development, we're continuing the work on all aspects of the learning grid that we developed and rolled out this summer in August. And we're working on learning targets. Our next focus for January is embedded formative assessment. And the way this works is it's kind of a train the trainers model. We're working with our administrators on a book study and that sort of thing. And then we roll it out to the staff during staff meetings and some of that time on Wednesday afternoons when they're available. The Torrington High School curriculum inventory is completed. So we're in, right now, what we're doing is analyzing the information that's been gathered to help inform our curriculum planning. We've also created a novel preview team with some of the middle and high school teachers who have volunteered to participate. What we're doing is we're looking at some new young adult titles, variety of different themes to see what the literary merit is of some of these titles that we can perhaps integrate into what we're currently teaching. Performance Matters, our data management system that we've been talking about, is close to being completed, ready to roll out. So the first week in January, the folks from Performance Matters will be working with a core team of our district staff that we've identified to be trainers who will then train all of our certified staff during the February Professional Development Day. We have our winter student assessment window, our student testing window set from January 11th through February 12th. That does not mean that every student will be tested for that entire time period. It's just the window during which teachers can determine when children should be tested. Before the meeting, John and I were kind of waxing philosophical about really whether or not this is even worth doing, but we have to gather this information, and it will be interesting to see what kind of results we get. And then I'll turn it over to Allie. She can talk about the technology.
So we're using this time where there aren't too many people in the building to be able to work on our past E-rate project, our Category 2 project. And with that, we've been able to really tear down the entire network at the high school, doing that at the middle school tomorrow. And with that, replaced inefficient parts and switches that were just not properly managed. Some were really old. So we're taking essentially our highway from the width of this table to the width of a football field. And we've gone from dial-up speed to what I call ludicrous speed. I ran this speed test today. We're getting a throughput of over 2 gigs per second, which is really
Wow.
cool.
That's awesome.
So to put that into perspective, you can download any 2-hour length movie in about 10 seconds. It's phenomenal. We're installing switches that are future-proofed. We are designing these switches in a way that you cannot possibly anticipate what the future will bring, but we'll get at least 6-7 years out of these switches that we're installing, and are able to provide high power for outside cameras with defining lenses, or we're able to provide power for inside cameras and access control and all these things in any kind of new wireless access point that we would have to power with that. We are also, at this point, at the high school and middle school, eliminating physically wired computers. We're going 100% wireless on any device that's supported. If I would have said that a year ago, I would have had to jump out the window because it would have crashed really bad. But I'm very proud of everything that's been done, and I'm really excited about it. So it's a lot of fun. We've been running some speed tests, and it's just wow. So I can't wait to have students back and put the system to the test.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, it's wonderful. That's phenomenal.
You've got a good team working on this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
Ready for Laura? Okay. Any questions on that before we go to sped?
Any questions for any of the presentation? Gary, do you have any questions?
Also,
Special education update. Laura?
Hi, everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
The paper, actually, this is not correct, Ally. Can you pull up the one that was just shared with you?
That's the one you just shared with me.
Yep, it's been updated though.
I know, but that's.
Okay, let's.
Hold on.
She sent me.
Yep, that's,
Okay, can you
it's
show it again,
not
Ally?
correct.
Let's just speak at it. I didn't think it looked like this one. Let's see.
we have to reshare it with you, Ally. There was a
Yeah,
change.
that's the one.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's the one you shared.
Okay, so let me just reshare it because the one that I have, that's not correct. So hold
And
on.
then can you email a copy of that to Marissa so that she can send it out to the full board?
Yeah,
I'll
hold on one second. I'm just gonna reshare it.
This is the one she sent me. An hour ago.
Okay, so both Sue and Ally, you guys should have that. It should say -11 for the special ed total.
Want me to go make a new copy?
Yeah. Yeah, because I think that's totally different.
I just want to make sure I'm getting the right one.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten anything yet.
So,
I just shared it. Let me put your name again. Either that or if you want to share my screen, I could do it that way too.
Okay, so the
Yeah.
one you just shared again is still 12-1.
Okay, why don't you just share
Yeah.
it via
Yeah.
screen, then we'll get the other. That's fine.
Yeah, that's exactly, Laura, what you just shared is exactly the same thing for December 1st.
It doesn't say -11 in the special ed total.
No.
It does.
So,
Okay,
yeah,
so
and
share
that's
that.
correct.
All right, I'll share that.
Mm, we okay or?
Oh, there we go.
Are we good?
Yep, go ahead. You could speak to that one, Laura.
Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what happened there, but okay. So, yeah, if you look at our numbers, we had a little bit of movement as of December 1st. Our in-district numbers dropped by 8, and we were able to bring back from out of district 2 students. So overall, our special ed numbers have decreased by 11. So that was great. We do have 9 students right now that are being homeschooled due to COVID. So those 9 are not included in the numbers. And when they return, obviously those numbers would go back up. But if you look at our prevalence rate, we're holding steady, right? Just over the 15%. And again, the state average is 16%. So that's right where we want to be. So I'm pleased with that. On the second page, if you just scroll to that. Okay. On the second page, we have our outplacement percentage now is 11.65. The state average is 13.5. So we are no longer in trouble with our outplacement. So that's fantastic. As far as the referrals, we have had to do a lot of testing because some of the testing that was recommended for last year was unable to occur at the end of the year. So at the beginning of the year, some of the evaluations had to pick up rather quickly to be done. And a lot of those meetings were held in November. And so they might not have made the November 1 numbers. So it seems like in December, we had quite a bit. We're not usually testing this many referrals, especially school referrals this early in the year. However, it is the carryover from last year. So if you look right now, 19 students have exited from special ed this year. So those were the students that we tested. Again, some of those are carryovers from last year. So that looks like, wow, we've exited so many this year, but some of those would have occurred last year if we were in school. Our move in, move out rate is seems to be a little bit more stable. I don't know if it's COVID or what it is. We had 20 children move in with an IEP. I'm sorry, 25 children have moved into Torrington with an IEP, 20 have moved out. So that ratio isn't quite as dramatic as it was last year. And let me see, anything else I want to share with you? I think that's pretty much it at this point. We're in the process of evaluating 14 students right now. So we'll see where they end up. And that's it. As far as providing instruction during the virtual period, I think that for our staff and our students, what's been difficult is having to jump between the two. We're in and then we're on virtual again. However, the schools have done a really nice job with really working on their plans and how to deliver the instruction. So to the best of their ability, they're really trying to jump on and make sure that the kids are still getting what they need, even when we're doing the virtual. So I feel pretty confident with what we've been able to offer. Hopefully, obviously, we all want to be back in person. It continues to be hardest for our children with the most significant disabilities. And that's where we are.
Laura, can I ask you a question on the parents that pull their kids out for homeschooling for COVID?
Yeah.
So there is no oversight as to whether or not they're providing their students with special education services while they're homeschooled?
No, when a parent chooses to homeschool, they are pulling them out of the Torrington Public Schools. So we no longer provide the special education services.
What if the state is working on anything for a reentry for those students when they come back after COVID, if they've lost service for all this time?
So I don't know, I haven't heard anything as far as the state goes. What would happen as far as special ed goes is the minute those students re-register to come back into the district, their IEP is going to pick right back up. And so their services would go back into play. If during that time any evaluations were missed, we would do evaluations to determine where the child is, to determine if the previous services were appropriate, or if we need to increase or decrease anything, looking on where they are at that point.
Thank you.
Yep.
Does anyone have any other questions for Laura?
I'm all set. Thank you, Laura.
Okay, thank you. Okay, monthly financials. Ed or Armin, who wants to do it?
Monthly financials. We had that meeting. You might want to pick up, I have my notes.
Yeah. We're still in the black.
What was the?
576,000. The reason why that went down from the month before is because of a special ed student who we didn't have the price for that student, but we knew the price was coming, and that reduced our total. But we're still in the black, and we're going to continue in the black because of the next thing. COVID.
Yes.
COVID. We received
What's that?
a wire transfer today for $574,451.17. So that will made the transfers, and that money will go out of our budget. So next month, you'll see a reduction of expenses, because remember, we paid all of the expenses out of the budget. So we're now crediting the budget for $574,000.
Nice.
So that's for the PPE. the
Yeah, that's for
sanitizers.
the sanitizers, the subs,
Mhm.
and all of the equipment and supplies that we asked for. So
And the cheesecake too, Ed. Cheesecake too. Don't forget that.
don't tell anybody. What? And we're waiting for, we're paying the rest of the bills, because hopefully our next payment will be around $30,000. So,
Any questions on the COVID expenses or the monthly financials? Everyone all set? Good. Calendar 2020, 2021.
Okay, so earlier in the year, we brought this to you and said we really needed those early release Wednesdays. And we were testing those out till January, so we're bringing this back to you to say they're really working. People are trying to pull together as much as they possibly can. Our staff is doing a great job. Teachers are really benefiting from having those Wednesdays in this particular year when they truly need it, and we're moving from one instructional model to another. We're asking an incredible amount from our teachers and our paras in terms of instruction. So we are asking the board to continue that from January to June for this year, because we feel it's very worthwhile.
Can I just ask everyone, if you're not speaking, can you just mute yourself? Because there's some background noise.
That's probably me. But I'm going to speak anyway. Can I have a question or no?
Yeah, no, go
Before I-
ahead. Just
before I
when you're
said-
not talking, if everyone could just mute themselves when they're not talking, but go ahead if you're talking, it's fine.
Just a
Gary.
quick question. Related, so the Wednesday issue, you're referring to what? Just the half day, you mean?
Just the early release. We just want to continue that for the remainder of this year because we feel it's very essential for teachers and our parents to be able to have that time.
Okay.
There's really so much for them to learn. You know, we're constantly throwing new things at our staff to ask them to become skilled at. And then they turnkey that to the kids too. So, you know, it's valuable time.
And they need time to try it out, then come back, talk about what worked, what didn't, and then continue to fine tune it.
That's how it was when I was in high school.
Any other
With certain
questions
Wednesdays.
from anybody on the half-day
That was just at the high
Wednesdays?
school.
Ellen, that was 100 years ago.
It was.
99 for me.
Right.
Okay, calendar 21-22.
Okay, so we're presenting you with the 21-22 school year calendar. It may seem early, but it's really not. This is when we normally present the calendar. And it's in line with a lot of our regional, local districts, as well as Oliver Wolcott, and what they need to do in particular, like their February break happens on the 18th and the 21st. So we were trying to work around that. It's not a lot of surprises. Next year, we would still like to go back to that Thursday, the third Thursday of every month, being an early dismissal so that we could do professional development. That would be a switch, obviously, from the Wednesdays that we just spoke about to going back to the Thursdays once a month. We are anticipating things going back to normal, as you see in our calendar. If this is not the case, obviously, I will be back presenting to the board, but I'm thinking very hopefully and optimistically that we will be moving forward next year.
Okay.
Why would you not stay with the Wednesdays and go back to the Thursdays?
Because the Wednesdays are every week and the Thursdays are once a month, and instructionally in terms of minutes. I would love to keep the Wednesdays, but then we'd have to add some more days of school.
Okay,
Instructionally, we won't have enough minutes.
okay.
And this year we have that flexibility because we're doing blended classroom. Students are working outside when they're not with the teachers. So those minutes are counting. So
Okay.
next year we probably will not have that flexibility
Okay.
again.
And you'll get more bang for your buck on the Thursday.
We still need that. Like I said, I would love to have the early release Wednesday. I think it really has benefited us, but without really talking to TEA and 1579 and
Right,
really
right,
looking
yeah.
at, you know,
And also
Um,
the impact on the families to have a
right.
shortened Wednesday.
that's the hard part.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Just
No, it's a great
thinking of the
question.
reasoning.
Any other questions on this calendar?
I just have one because I can't see it.
Oh, it's in
This,
your
this isn't
packet?
the. What's that?
It's in the packet?
No, I know. I didn't bring my glasses.
Okay.
I do have a new pair, by the way. But we don't have. You're not recommending that we have online classes versus snow days, are you? In this
No,
calendar?
no.
right.
The snow days are in the calendar just the way they are this year.
There are
you.
Sundays though.
That's okay.
So when the sun is out, we can,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions on the calendar? All right, new course
Oh,
proposal.
sorry, I just had one on,
Go ahead.
we didn't hear anything, but I just wanted to confirm. I know Veterans Day was a change in this current year, and I just wanted to make sure, there was no backlash. We felt like that was still the right move to move forward with from the community,
people were very pleased, even though we had to do things remotely. We had great celebrations, wonderful acknowledgements. All across the board, people felt it was a very, very positive experience and actually more meaningful for our students in their connections with the community than we've done in the past. Certainly, we would love next year to be able to do those things in person. But I think that they learned a lot more in terms of just facts and more relatable, real, relevant information. So I think it was very much a positive. And we look forward to doing it in person next year.
A lot of schools are doing
Yeah.
that, private and public.
Yeah, because the kids don't understand
Any
why they
other
get the day off.
questions on
right?
the
It's like,
calendar? All right, new course proposal, History 1300, Western Traditions before 1500.
Yeah, so this came before school improvement at our last SIC meeting. Pat Conroy is making the course proposal. It is a course that would students would receive UConn college credit for. I think it was very well received by the school improvement committee. Pat did a great job, describing what the kids would be. It's kind of a sister course to one that's already on the books. So it would be a half-year course, and we talked about hopefully being able to offer the courses so that students who happen to have an interest in this type of thing would have the opportunity to register for both.
Any questions on the courses? No. Oh, thank you. Capital plan, facilities and technology.
Right, you asked us to come back with the facilities plan to add Torrington side concrete, and that's listed on the sheet in Torrington for $260,000 to replace 1,500 feet of curbing in the parking lot. So that's the only change we made in the capital plan that you asked us for.
And that's for next year.
Correct.
Stuff's not
Do you
cheap.
have any questions or
Next
discussion for those
Yeah,
that
it's
weren't at budget,
260,000
where
added to
there's
next-
some deterioration
Torrington.
on the
It
curbing
was
at
282,
Torrington
and
and
then added
of
26.
curbs actually
60,000.
disintegrating, so there's concerns that it's a safety issue. So that's why we wanted that added into the capital plan for next year.
Is that concrete or is it, I'm sorry, I can't see anybody.
Hold on, Gary, you're next.
Go ahead, go ahead, Nick.
Go
Nick
ahead,
can go.
Nikki.
No, I remember the conversation we talked about, like if there was anything else like that example, curbing either at other schools or other things that we knew about that wasn't built in. And I'm taking it that we didn't find anything else that needed to get built in here.
Correct at this time, yes.
Thank you.
What was it, granite?
That's what I was gonna ask. I heard Eliminatia just say granite. Is that granite?
It was concrete.
No.
It was concrete.
I think it was
there.
concrete that John got.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, this just says replace, so, okay.
Any other questions on facilities capital before we move to technology, keeping in mind that this capital plan has to be submitted to the city by December 31st?
Mhm.
No, no, ahead. Go ahead, Nikki. Go ahead,
Are we
Nikki.
gonna go through the technology?
Next, yep.
Okay, sorry.
Facilities.
Mhm.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, the technology you asked us to change what we wanted. So Ally, you want to?
So we've looked at the possibility of aligning our device technology with the pathways of the new building and giving our students access to a device which would see no limitations with any type of course material or architectural drawings or any sort of digital art or really anything that they could possibly learn about. So we're looking into the option to, instead of providing Chromebooks for grades 7 through 12, to provide them with MacBooks, and that would be the new M1 type MacBooks that were just released. And there are several options with that. The device itself has a cost of $899. There is a 3-year extended Apple Care, oops, I dropped it no matter what kind of warranty that comes with it at a cost of $183. It does not, however, cover damage that is deliberate, which we really haven't had that issue, thankfully. There are hard shell cases. You see one on my laptop right here. Yes, I know pumpkin spice season's over, but it's always pumpkin spice for me. Anyways, the hard shell really protects the surface of the machine. The cost is $50 a machine. So my recommendation would be to have really the MacBook combined with the warranty and combined with the case. And those numbers, you know, what they turn out to be.
1132 a device, right?
Yes.
And Ally, how long would the device last?
So, right, the biggest difference is a Chromebook has a maximum lifespan of 5 years due to the licensing that is associated with it. After 5 years, the Chromebook can no longer be upgraded, and at that point could pose a potential security risk to the district. So we're really unable to have Chromebooks that are out of licensing. If you look at your average Dell laptop, you pick up a Windows-based machine, and you think maybe 3 years down the road, oh my goodness, that thing is a dinosaur. It's really slow and sluggish and might catch viruses and all these things. Whereas we have, still working in the district, Macs that are 8 years old and they still function, they're still up to date, they're still supported. So we expect to get 7 to 8 years out of these machines, which is more than 2.5 times the average lifespan of a laptop.
And they're also less susceptible to the viruses out there.
They're less susceptible to the virus, to any type of virus. It doesn't mean you can't get them,
Right.
but the likelihood is far, far, far less. We do have a management platform for them already. We use a management platform for our iPads and iPhones that we have. And within that, there wouldn't be any additional cost for us to roll the Macs into that. So we're able to track, we're able to remotely install software. Even, God forbid, we have to do, well, let's use a better example. An art teacher needs to have an assignment. There's a brand new piece of software, and the student hasn't been able to come into the district for whatever reason. We are able to service these devices wherever they are. So we are able to install software or anything as long as they're connected to the
Sue, go ahead.
I may have missed it, Ellie, but how much are the Chromebooks after, like, to replace each one?
A Chromebook, you're looking at probably $250 a piece, plus a $36 license.
Okay, and that's every probably like 3 years, right?
Probably not 3, maybe 4.
Okay.
5 absolute max, but we haven't really.
But at
seen
5 years, it's going to be almost obsolete, really, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they don't have that much memory, and our biggest problem really is when we're trying to run any type of Adobe application or other sorts of like AutoCAD, math apps, we can't. We're really limited in their functionality. So while they're really great for our primary children, for secondary, they start to become a disadvantage for the things we want to do.
Yes,
And we were talking about just looking at the MacBooks for, was it 8 through 12
Seven.
or 7 through 12? Right.
The line.
Okay.
yes.
All right. Thanks. Thank you.
So I wanted to say I love the idea of the MacBooks. Like that's what I use personally, and I think it's a superior device. But I'm a little concerned about giving them to middle schoolers. I would rather see it start in 9th grade, and I also think that that's maybe a good incentive for kids to stay 9th through 12th if you know that in 9th grade you're going to get this like really cool computer to use. I think 7th and 8th graders for an $1,100 machine, like I'm not sure I would want my kid to be responsible for carrying one around. And the parents are responsible to pay for it if something happens to it. So that would be my suggestion, is to bump it up to 9th grade, because I'm not sure that 7th and 8th graders are going to be doing any of the complicated programs on them anyway.
You wanna?
Yeah, I think the reason we chose 7th is only because there may be, so the 7th graders come next year will be
Ninth graders when they open.
Will
Yeah.
be the 12th
Will be 12th
graders
graders
in the
in the
new
building.
school.
Right.
Actually, no, even sooner
No,
than
sooner.
that. They'll be
It's only
our
2 years.
10, no, it'll be, so it's,
Ninth
yeah.
grades.
In two.
It's open up
2
in
years.
Yeah,
2024.
So what we were trying to do is have students who would be in, start to fill the new school with students who had that device. And
just carry it
starting
with them
with
every year.
7th grade, then you had them keeping that device for 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. So you were really using it for the lifespan of that device.
Right. And I think we were talking about the new building and the pathways, there was going to be potential crossover between the middle school and the high school, and there would be advanced classes where these would come in as a benefit.
And these kids would have this machine from 7th through 12th grade. The same exact
Same
one.
machine.
Same machine. So.
Theoretically. I mean, in the
Oh.
perfect world, but we all know that's not 7th graders. I mean, I don't know. I see what you're saying as far as the timeline, but I think that there's other ways to think about it too. So I would still encourage us
High
to maybe wait.
expectations. They'll come around.
But you got kids with $1,000 phones. This is Garrett. You got kids with iPhones for $1,000 in 7th grade.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, but their parents opt for them to have those, It's
Well,
not like
I mean-
your kid comes home from school with an $1,100 machine and you're like, okay, well, now we're responsible for this,
Well, whatever's best for the students, but I'm not disagreeing with you on that point. I don't disagree on that. So I think the Chromebooks are junk. I know they're easily hacked. I don't like Chromebooks myself.
They break
Um,
easily.
They
My
break
concern-
easily.
My concern with not doing it at 7th grade is I think kids that don't have exposure to Macs,
Mhm.
it's different.
Mhm.
And I would rather have them get the Mac experience in 7th and 8th, so that when they're in high school, they completely understand the Mac
Mhm.
system. Because it is different.
Mhm.
I know a lot of our kids that went to college struggled because a lot of the colleges are using Macs and they've had no exposure to Macs.
And the kids will have to learn the kids will have to learn to take care of it.
Well, I would think that given that kind of piece of technology, it carries a responsibility, and I would expect for the student to treat a MacBook very differently than they would treat a Chromebook.
Most of them.
Have we had
It's
much
on
damage
House
with the?
It really
It's House
hasn't been
approved.
that bad. We've had
When you give it to me.
we've had a couple of milk spills and other sort of fluid issues, but things like that would be covered under the warranty. I mean, I don't think we've had any complete pieces of destruction. And then, given the quantity of MacBooks that we would be purchasing over time, we would have the ability for Apple to offer our students to learn how to use them. And we'd be able to source parts right from Apple. and we'd be able to fix them under the warranty program and not have to pay for it.
Ed, I would think Ed can negotiate, I'm assuming Ed would do the negotiation, maybe not, but X number of extra Macs as backups as part of the contract price or replacements up to a certain number
It would be
every year.
It'd be a conversation to have with Apple, and Apple will actually help us even create this plan, the rollout plan, any additional Macs that we would get part of the entire purchase, but they also have a fantastic educational K-12 team. I've worked with their New York side for a long time, and they're all made up of educators, and they would come in and provide us with options for professional development, for curriculum planning, and all these things. Apple is really wonderful about these kind of things.
And they
So
want to be in the schools.
They do, absolutely. We have a brand new rep, I have yet to meet.
Also, we could be their beta site as we always been in
Oh,
some other
nice.
stuff.
So would that include the price and the capital, include the teachers and the paraprofessionals getting the MacBooks also?
That was only for the students.
Do we know what it would be for those 7 through 12 people to have that also, the staff?
You'd probably add another
Another 200, probably.
Another 200 machines.
Because,
per year.
but what
No,
did we get
originally.
this year for staff? Staff,
We got about 500
and
staff
so,
laptops, and we got about 180 Chromebooks.
right, so the paras are still working with the Chromebooks, the teachers are working with laptops. It just depends on the cycle of this, where you'd introduce that.
It just seems like if we're gonna have the kids have it, that the staff should have access to the same.
And
Right.
maybe if you do the grade level at a
Technology.
time, the grade level
Yeah.
teachers.
Yeah.
Well, we put in 400 because we figured 350 we're gonna, for students, and we have an extra, 25 to 50 for whatever.
I mean,
Right,
I
so
don't know what everybody else thinks. It just seems like.
No, actually.
That's what, I was about to say that same thing, Fiona. That's why I had my hand up. And teachers are going to need some PD on it also because of the differences in the system. So you've got to have, if you have 7th graders having the MacBooks, you've got to have any teacher that teaches those kids having a MacBook too.
And they're so easy to use. They really are. I don't like Chromebooks. The biggest reason is they were distributed to collect data, and Apple has always been doing this for mostly for education purposes. I'm not saying completely, but they just provide a great product that it's easy for users. And,
Nikki, did you have a question? Go ahead.
I was on mute. The original capital budget for technology had the majority of the Chromebooks need in 25, 26, right? Which I'm assuming is when the big amount that we got this year, right, expires. Would we start to transition then? Since we have Chromebooks that still have some life in them?
So at that point, I did the math. Let me put that up on the screen real fast. I did the math for that year. And I think originally we were looking at over 2,000 Chromebooks for that year. We were going down to 700, going
Right.
K through 6, only because of the number of Chromebooks. So for every grade level that gets a Mac, we get a Chromebook, we get Chromebooks back.
Right.
And the timing of those works out that we do not in 25, 26 have that huge Chromebook.
That big bubble.
We will not have the bubble.
Smaller bubble.
So,
Explain that piece one more time, because that 700 would just be what is needed now for, K through 6, or
Correct.
sorry, yeah, K through 6.
Originally, that was over 2,000. And with the Chromebooks for each year leading up to that, with the MacBooks, I'm sorry, leading up to that, you got 400, 800, 1,200. So that gets you to 1,900. And I think I realigned some of the other numbers as well, so that the total really does not exist in that year. Because every year, every student that will get a MacBook, then that Chromebook will go back into the regular district-wide circulation for the lower grades.
Got it. So instead of the 5 years out being a huge amount, now we're just spreading it because now each year has gone up 300,000 from what the original plan was with all Chromebooks.
Right. Or ever, if you then expand that to 7 or 8 years, where we would start picking up more devices again. Now we essentially buy a device in 7th grade, but then that would be it. That'd be it for that child, no more after that. So over time, it becomes, and with the laptop, with the MacBooks, because you don't have to replace them every 3 or 4 years. It's a return of investment over that period. And it becomes a wash, just with a better device.
Have we had any issues with getting devices back from students that moved?
I think out of all of them, we have lost 3 or 4.
Families have actually been really good at dropping them off. I know Lisa's received a lot of folks who, families as they're checking out, just saying, hey, I just need to drop this off. They've been very conscientious. So to get back to the whole point about the teachers, if we were to add, even if we said 25 to our total for doing it at per grade level, because I think you're right. We need to make sure that we have that teacher component there. I think that's going to be essential.
I think it'd be helpful for the parents too, if they're gonna be working with the kids on these, so they know too what they are.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. How it works, and if they're running into issues, how to help the kid, with the actual device itself.
We
So
still
they
have even some desktop type iMacs that we can redeploy in other central locations or within the classroom. So yes, it's not a mobile device, but at least we can have it to have the exposure. I've switched personally in 2005 when the superintendent asked me to make a video for convocation, and I've never looked back.
My wife Susan's had hers for 8 years, and I think mine is just about 8 years now. And I've had no issues ever.
All right, does anybody have any other questions? People okay with that plan? Because you want it to be adjusted to include some staff every year?
I do.
I think you
It'll
have
be
to,
fine.
you have to adjust it to include staff, and I still am concerned about the 7th graders personally, but
Does anyone else have concerns about 7th graders getting them?
No.
I do, but not enough to stop them from
I
doing
mean,
it.
I understand the
Yeah,
concern, but you gotta start somewhere and hold, have high expectations for them.
I don't disagree with Jess, but I hadn't given that much thought until you mentioned it. So it's probably something worth considering. Or maybe even, I hate to put like a questionnaire or a survey out there, but parents being held responsible for something going wrong with those at $1,100 per device is something that we might want to consider consulting with parents on, because the fact of the matter is we probably don't have a lot of families that can do that, especially at that grade level, 7th, 8th, 9th grade.
I agree.
Hold on, Ally, go ahead.
For 3 years, while we have that warranty, the maximum out of pocket that anybody is going to have is $100. and that is for deliberate damage.
That's as long as there's no intentional damage or it's
That-
lost,
that-
right?
That is,
There
that's why
is
she's
no-
suggesting we
there is-
buy that.
There is
Right.
no cost,
Yeah, you have to buy the warranty.
any type of other damage, like even sometimes it even happens where somebody has taken a pen and they slam the screen shut and then the screen shatters. Stuff like that is covered. But any sort of physical damage that looks like it's intentional, it's $100. But any type of other damage that does not look deliberate, it is no cost to us or the families for 3 years. So the worst thing that they're gonna get stuck with is $100
For the first 3 years.
for the first 3 years.
What-
The 5 years after, I think, too.
But they'll
What
be in
about-
high school- They'll be older
They'll
than,
be in 10th grade by the
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
their 3-year warranty's up.
Yeah.
yeah.
What do we do if devices are stolen about theft? Because it's not really worth it to steal a Chromebook, but it's worth it to steal a MacBook. I don't mean stealing from us. I mean, if a child has theirs stolen from them.
We have anti-theft mechanisms. It will essentially brick the machine. Not sure what happens with the device after that. But we are able to locate them where they are, at least the last known location. And once it comes back, we should have a pretty good idea of where they end up.
I mean, there's lots of things that could go wrong, but to not advance with our technology and give the kids the best we can give them because we're worried about the minority of children who may steal it or break it. If they watch their Chromebook like they watch their cell phone, they would probably be just fine. I mean, they're not babies anymore. 7th grade is not, they're not children. Or I shouldn't say they're not young children. They're 7th graders. They're going into high school in 2 years. I mean, to not use the kind of technology that Apple can give our students because we're worried about whether the parents can hold their children responsible, I don't think is a good enough reason. I mean, we need to expect more from our children. Like I said, parents will buy their kids an iPhone. They can have their kids watch their Chromebook or their MacBook if they have to, in my opinion. But I mean,
Plenty of parents won't
especially
buy
with
their
pathways.
kids that though. Plenty of parents don't buy their 7th graders $1,000 phones. I think most of them don't, but
Well,
anyway,
they-
whatever you guys decide.
That's not true. I mean, just the annual fees alone are almost $200 to $300, and the phone's $500. I mean, it's with the new high school with new pathways, the Chromebooks especially, they won't allow the kids to do almost anything relative to things like architectural drafting, mechanical drafting, arts. It's just part and parcel with some of the pathways we're talking about.
Well, and that's why, I mean, I support it for 9th grade. I just don't support it for 7th grade. That's a distinction that I was making, but.
Yeah, but we're
Up to you
starting
guys.
pathways. Yeah, I know.
Is anyone else opposed to us submitting the capital plan with the MacBooks 9 through 12, or 7 through 12, I apologize, with some additional MacBooks entered in for staff?
No.
No? Okay,
Not opposed.
all right. Moving on, thank you. Board goals, Mr. Kisco.
Does everyone have a copy of the sheet that I brought in tonight? And we can put that up on the screen. School Improvement Committee has been tasked with, and it's one of the jobs we always do, with overseeing the process of developing board goals. We had a couple of meetings where it was on the agenda, and it ended up with me saying, okay, you don't want to do it? I will. So I did, based on ideas. We batted some ideas around, but what you have in front of you is my idea of what, and I actually our ideas that I've put in words for the things we should be looking at over the next couple of years, year and a half, and maybe extending it onward, but that will be a choice we will make later. You can read them. I won't bother you with it. I will just say about number 3, Anyone who thinks that's early wasn't around to listen to people complaining about how fast we work when we have a 3-year process to study
Yeah.
secondary education, or a 2-year process to talk about each school and whether or not we really need it. So we need to start on this right away just to avoid the Facebook fueled charges that we are trying to put something over on people. So we'll start on that now.
Okay, any questions on board goals? All right, committee reports, budget committee. Thank you, John. Budget committee,
Sorry.
budget committee report.
We've been working on the budget and we're in the black, and that's a good thing this time of year. And we're gonna also be working on next year's budget very soon. Well, they already have been at the site levels. So, yeah. So budget will be coming soon.
Facility and technology committee,
Yeah, just-
Gary. Oh, sorry, go
Oh,
ahead.
just to let you know, during the past 2 weeks and next week, the ceiling has been torn down on the second floor at middle school. That'll be replaced. Remember, that's one of our Alliance projects. The lighting replacement has already started at the middle school. Starting Monday, the stair treads will be starting with replacement at Vogel Wetmore. And on Tuesday, we have a pre-bid meeting for refinishing the gym floors at 2 floors at the middle school, the auxiliary gym and the main gym, and the gym at Vogel Wetmore. So that's all been started or working on it.
All right, thank you. Facility and technology committee, Gary.
I think we covered most of it tonight. Capital plan was done, or is complete, I guess, as long as you vote on it. I think John and Ed did a good job. They adjusted accordingly of some of the requests by the board members to the committee members. Hopefully we can go forward with the apples. It'll be a big difference for the kids. And I'll continue to try to make improvements at all the schools.
School improvement.
Improvement had a really good meeting last month. We ended up hearing Laura talk about TAG program improvements and developments, and we heard Ally talking about some of the things we're presenting in our technology for community awareness and so on. And we had a great discussion of distance learning and just exactly what is going on and the good things that are happening too, in addition to the problems that we know about already. There's some good things that are happening there too. And to look into the future, the next meeting is we were supposed to be talking about social promotion. I think that would maybe be a little premature, but I asked Mrs. Ferguson to maybe come in ready to talk about what exactly we're going to find when we come out of the storm shelter after this is all done and look around at the damage. And we will be talking about that. And I think that coincides with board goal 4 if we adopt it, about being able to oversee and support whatever we need to do to overcome to the degree possible the effects of what will be a year and more of disrupted education. So anyway, that's what's going on with school improvement. So see you all there, I hope, next Wednesday.
Thank you. Building committee.
Yeah, building committee, as you know, in 6 weeks, we hired an architect SLAM. We hired an owner's rep, Construction Solutions, LLC, and we hired a construction manager, ONG. With all that, we saved about $2.5 million on fees already. So we're putting that aside right now as another savings. Mario and I are meeting those 3 companies on Monday to set the tone of what we want all 3 companies to do. That we want this a perfect job, an outstanding job, on time, under budget, and also winning, as Mario and I have won a state distinction for the fields. We want this building 7 through 12 to be a national treasure. Correct.
It's gonna be a
And it
national
will
treasure.
happen.
It will.
It'll kill me, but it'll happen. So Mario and I.
No, don't.
No, Mario's fine now. Mario's adjusted.
All right, grievance hearing. So the board did hear a grievance by the TEA and that grievance was turned down. That's it for grievance. So we want to get back to the school liaison reports. So if anyone has one for this month for their schools, but if not, if you can start thinking about that for next month.
I
Sue,
do.
You do?
I do, yes. Dr. Buchanan and I we have meetings scheduled for the Tuesday morning before our regularly scheduled board meetings. We've met a couple times already. Our first meeting was much longer than expected. She kind of introduced me to their school and how they operate. And we did this all virtually, of course. And we talked about the different activities that they do every day. She has a morning message that she sends out that I get a copy of now, and I love watching it. It's kind of inspirational for me too, to start my day. She just addresses, huh?
We should all get it then.
Do you ever get? You should, yeah, we should all get it. I really enjoy it. One morning she actually forgot to send it to me, and I checked with her. I messaged her quick to make sure she was okay because I didn't get it. But she does she does a lot of interaction with the kids. Every day is something different. They have like Mindful Monday and like Wishful Wednesday. Every day she has something else for them and a different thought of the day. They rise and do the pledge together, which I think all the schools do anyway, but it's really interesting to see how she interacts with her staff and her students, and you can tell that there's a lot of collaboration going on in the building. So I can't wait till we can get into the building and meet with them personally. Who knows when that'll happen, but I'm looking forward to being able to go there once every couple weeks, just to observe and be available to her. And she didn't have anything really to bring back to the board right now. But she was thankful that the door was open again and she had a way in easily. Not that she couldn't reach out because speaks very highly of our current administration ladies. So she knows that she can reach out at any time, but it just is easier to not have to bother you, I think, with everything. So it was good. I'm glad that we connected and we'll continue to connect.
Thank you.
That's it.
All right. Action items. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the TEA negotiated contract as proposed tonight by the negotiating team.
So moved.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstentions?
I abstain.
Okay, did you get that? So everyone's, opposed? Are you in favor or opposed?
In favor.
In favor, okay. So Marissa, everyone's in favor and Jess Richardson is abstaining. Entertain a motion to approve the monthly financials.
Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Entertain a motion to approve the calendar for 2020 and 2021.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Yes, entertain a motion to approve the calendar 2021-22.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Entertain a motion to approve to the change to the bylaws that were presented last month, which was adding a committee member to budget and facilities.
I'll move it.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Entertain a motion to approve the new course proposal, History 1300, Western Traditions before 1500.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Entertain a motion to approve the facilities and the technology capital plans.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm opposed due to the technology.
You're opposed, Jeff?
Yeah, because of the
Okay,
MacBooks.
so Marissa, everyone's in favor, Jess Richardson's opposed. Entertain a motion to approve board goals.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Yes, entertain a motion to approve the Board of Education regular meeting minutes from November 18th.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Who moved?
Sue.
So,
I'll second it then.
second, Ed Corey, all those in favor?
Aye.
Please, the committee meeting minutes.
I want to point out something here that makes Gary and I look like we're out to become Vikings or something. Because in the comments for the good of the order, Gary says, "I conquer with John." Spell check. It's spell check. And on the other hand, it needs to be changed.
Okay.
Also, there were two sets of minutes that I attended and wasn't in the
Okay,
roster, but I sent that to Marissa.
okay. All right, so entertain a motion to receive the committee meeting minutes with the changes.
So moved.
So moved.
Which one is that in, John?
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Entertain a motion to receive the consent agenda.
Budget November 11.
Approve the consent agenda.
I'll move it.
Move it. Second.
John?
John, all those in favor?
Aye.
Comments for the good of the order. So we'll start with you.
I would just want to address Ally. I think the technology enhancements that you're implementing are amazing. Thank you so much for that. Laura is on the SPED program. The attention that is given now is commendable and much appreciated. And Happy New Year, everyone.
Marissa? Laura?
I just wanted to say that I hope that this new year brings us health and mask free so we can be back to normal and all be together and doing what's best for all of our kids, and have a happy new year.
Yes.
The only thing I was going to say, and I don't know if it's possible, but if we could get the building committee agendas emailed to us the same way that we do with the other board committees, since we're treating it like the other board committees. I don't know if we can do that, or I just want to mention it might be helpful.
Kathy?
Okay, I'm not muted. Okay. I agree with everything Sue said. I think we have a phenomenal team going now in our district, and that's exciting. And I'm very proud to be a part of this board and be working with everyone. And I'm just really happy to see that, Sue, you brought forth the calendar with the continued half days for our teachers. I think that's such an important piece for them. I think it's a good time, if for nothing else, to just have the time to collaborate with one another, to commiserate if needed, and just to have that time is really special. So thank you for bringing that forward, and I'm glad that we as a board agreed with it. So thank you.
Thank
And
you.
Happy New Year.
Vicky?
I'm all set, thanks.
Ed?
I'm all set. I hope everybody, if you were celebrating, had a great Christmas. And hopefully the new year will bring nothing but good things.
Gary?
I was glad to see that the kids are going to get snow days in 21, 22. And but that's just a joke, but I'm happy about that. But also, I'm glad to see that the negotiations with the teachers went smoothly, and I'm glad that those on the committee were able to get it done rather quickly. And Happy New Year.
Ellen. Oh, Kim, sorry, I didn't see you up there. I got.
Nope, I don't have anything. Just Happy New Year, everyone.
Ally?
Thank you, everyone, and have a happy new year.
Ellen?
Same, Happy New Year and great work, everyone.
Two things. First of all, the negotiation process was great. Both sides, TEA is especially to be appreciated here because they could have done a lot more obstruction than they did, and they chose not to. They're good people. And the other thing is, if we look around the room, we see our professional staff here on the week between Christmas and New Year.
Right.
And it keeps saying such good things about the dedication of the staff to see everyone here doing what they can to just keep us moving. So thank you.
Armand?
Thank you to everybody. I think, the district is moving forward and continues to move forward, and we need to continue to do that. And, sometimes that's asking for things that are reasonable, and, because if you don't ask, you're not going to get it. So you might as well ask. And you might not get it, but at least you asked for it. So but Happy New Year, everybody. And I hope everybody has a great 2021.
Ed?
Thank you for my cake on my
Yeah.
day before my birthday.
Yeah,
I
happy
appreciate that. I'm now 33. Just want to let you know.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Forevermore.
I have a 46-year-old kid.
Yeah,
but I
your
don't know.
youngest kid is 43.
And happy and healthy new year for everybody. That's what we need. Just health.
Sue?
Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah. Happy to say goodbye to 2020.
Yeah, always.
Many thanks to board, many thanks to TEA. I echo your sentiments as well. I think they were very respectful. It was great on both sides. People really working together for the greater good. So great job, team, and Happy New Year. Looking forward to it.
I echo that sentiment. Thank you to the negotiating team on both sides. Tough times to be negotiating, so I appreciate all of your work that you all did. Want to wish everyone a happy new year. And, the holidays in Torrington are something that really just makes you proud to be from Torrington. Mr. Aram, serving up all those dinners, shorthanded on Christmas Day at the food bank. Thank you. When I was at Friendly Hands dropping off some things, they couldn't say enough about the support of everyone in the schools to make sure that all our families had gifts for the holidays. So I think the holidays show everything that's great about Torrington and makes me proud to be part of this community. So the best is yet to come in the new year.
Yeah.
So cross our fingers.
2 days to go in this year.
So items for upcoming agenda, we'll have budget, COVID expenses, budget, and budget.
Yeah, budget, next 3 months budget.
Yep.
At least 3 months.
And hopefully the COVID expenses will be gone in 2
Yeah.
months.
Yeah.
All paid up and everything.
Exactly.
All right,
Don't
future
wanna see that.
meetings, Wednesday, January 6th, school improvement policy, January 13th, facility and budget, Wednesday, January 27th,
7th, full board.
full board. Motion to adjourn.
Some
I'll second it.
8:31, John and Armand.
Okay.
Okay. Happy New Year, everyone.
Yes.